What's everyone's score prediction going to be for tomorrow night then?
I've already told you mine.
I got. What is it again, Liam?
2-0.
2-0 Plymouth.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with that.
I bet you both would be happy with that.
Hello, and welcome to the Argyle Way, everyone. And today I am joined by two very special guests, not representing Plymouth Argyle, but representing Oxford United. We've got Nick Harris, former MotoGP commentator, as well as big Oxford fan, and Oxford YouTuber himself, Jack Ward, the Young Fan podcast. How are you both feeling coming into tomorrow?
Pretty nervous. It's been a tough old start to the season for Oxford. Injuries have absolutely wrecked a lot of plans. They've had to rely on youngsters who have done a fantastic job for them. Look at Oxford in the next couple of years. They're going to have a very good side, but it's unfair to play youngsters all the time, which they've had to do. And it looks like Argyle, looking at paper, because I haven't seen them play this season yet, are in very good form.
How about you, Jack? How are you feeling?
I was going to say that I think Nick's hit the nail on the head with the first question about the injuries and the way that, to be honest, we have had to rely on a lot of the young lads. But I think when we look at the long term, we spoke about it after the Burton result, which in the end, Oxford made it difficult, but we sort of got through it in the end.
Scraped through, Jack.
Scraped through, yeah. It was a quite a painful watch at times, but generally we had to dig in, and we did that really well, and we came away with the 3 points, which at the time, I think we said today the main thing was all about just getting the win. That was about one thing, and that was coming away with the 3 points. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't how Oxford United and Carl Robinson really wants to play, in the fact that it wasn't fluid at all, but we had to just dig in and I think grind a result out, which we did. But I don't think you're going to be able to do that against a Plymouth Argyle side on Tuesday, who are, like Nick said there, flying at the moment, really good position in the league table, and also they're scoring goals, and it's not going to be easy whatsoever. It's really going to be difficult. I'm worried. I am worried.
I think there's two clubs I can say that I'd probably say we're very similar to right now in this league, and that's Peterborough and Sheffield Wednesday. And like, our home form has been absolutely immaculate so far this season. I'd say that 2-0 win we had against Peterborough back in August was probably our best performance of the season so far. And then the 3-2 win at Derby last time, that I did not expect at all. But that game was like, even though it was a fantastic win, Cosgrove turned out to be absolutely phenomenal that second half. But that win, it was like a bit of, there's two sides to it. The first half was not very good because Derby were absolutely spot on. They were 2-0 up, deservedly took a 2-0 lead. And then second half, we turned on the screw and somehow came back from 2-0 behind to win 3-2, which I was really not expecting at all. But I will be honest, even before the season, I actually had us to do very well this season, but that's only because we've kept the majority of our players. The only player I can excuse, I guess, is Kamara, because he's just gone to Ipswich on deadline day, which is a pain in the backside for all us fans in green, because he's one of our fans.
He was so good last season.
Well.
I thought Kamara was really good. On the eye, I think the way that midfield, he was really, really good in midfield. I think he was tall, he was really athletic, the way that he went box to box. On the eye was one of the players last season that's really stood out in a Plymouth shirt. So that feels a big loss. And to join Ipswich as well, who are, again, probably, but look at the league table this early, they are promotion rivals, essentially, aren't they, really? So.
Exactly, and that's the other thing that really annoyed me about it, because let's say Kamara went to a championship side, and I know Burnley were looking at him throughout the entire summer as well, I wouldn't have minded as much, because it would have been a completely different league, of course. But the fact that he's gone to a promotion rival in the same league as us is it's a pain. It does hurt. But thankfully, we have replaced him. We've signed Matt Butcher from Accrington Stanley as his replacement, and he's been pretty solid, I'd say, for us so far this season. But I'm not going to rule tomorrow out, to be honest. I'm not going to say. I know I'm going to go with a Plymouth win, but I'm not going to rule Oxford out, because this is where I think you guys are very similar to us, and I can see this from last season as well, because both of us had to suffer through this last season. Both of our clubs just missed out on the playoffs, and we're both very good squads. And the other thing I can say is that I don't think Carl Robinson gets the appreciation he deserves. Personally, I think he's a fantastic manager. I think he's really underrated. And no, I wouldn't rule Oxford out for tomorrow. Honestly,
Well,
I think even a draw for Plymouth tomorrow would be really bad for us. Really.
Oxford would shake your hand off and be on the coach
yeah.
back home, I tell you, for a draw, I would imagine. Plymouth last year at the Kassam, probably the best side we saw at the Kassam. They were absolutely top class in the win. Oxford, it was an appalling week for them, and they lost at Plymouth. Really a game they should have won. They were the better side. Plymouth took the chances. Oxford didn't. Then Oxford lost to Morecambe, then I think lost to Sunderland. It was a week that cost them.
That was our write-off for playoffs, that was.
Playoff play. Absolutely cost them. And the game at Plymouth, to me, I can see it like it was yesterday, summed it up. Oxford were the better side. Plymouth took their chances and Plymouth did it. So, yeah, but this is a different Oxford side, Jack, in Plymouth, because of the injuries, because they have been decimated by injuries, really. Key players. Matty Taylor scores goals for fun, especially against Plymouth normally, out for a month. And I can go through the whole list if you want, but that sort of sums up what's happening to Oxford at the moment.
There's two other clubs that I think have also had starts they have not wished to hope for so far this season, and that's the two Buckinghamshire clubs, Wycombe and MK Dons. They're both tipped to be up there near the playoffs once again, but obviously it's a little bit different for MK Dons because they've sold Scott Twine, they've sold Darling as well. They've both gone to the Championship. And then, of course, Wycombe have sold their main goalkeeper, Stockdale, to Sheffield Wednesday. But I think they're in the same boat as Oxford. They both haven't had the starts they would have wanted for either. So I guess for all the Oxford fans out there, I guess it's like you guys aren't the only ones that are feeling that basically at the moment.
Oh, thanks, chap.
It makes us feel better.
Yeah,
I'm trying my best.
Nah, I really do feel with Oxford. They've got to just weather this injury storm, which, to be honest, they won at Cheltenham. They beat Burton but they picked up 6 very important points. It's put them, handily placed in the table. They've just got to ride out this storm until the likes of Matt Taylor, Elliot Moore, Marcus Brown could be, well, he played 30 minutes against Burton, so it'd be Josh Murphy, Sam Baldock, Yannick Wiltshire. You can go on and on and on with the key people. There's quite a lot of them players they signed as well that are injured. They've just got to weather this storm, and I think the last week they beat Cheltenham, they beat Orient in the Papa John's 5-0, and then they beat Burton. Would restore a little bit of confidence. How they play at Plymouth, what formation they play? Will they play 3 at the back? Will they be a bit more defensive against a Plymouth side? I think that depends a lot on the personnel that are available.
I think that I was going to say, adding on to what Nick just said there, I think the formation is completely down to not really what Carl Robinson wants to play. Essentially, it's all literally down to what can we create, what squad and what first team and what 11 can we create with the players we've got available, and that is all down to the fact that we are decimated with the injury list. I think Robinson will probably, he started the season when all players, the majority of players are fit. He started the first game of the season, and the first 2 games, I think it might have been already ruined by the third game with the injuries, but I think it was a 4-3-3, which is exactly what he wants to play, or 4-2-3-1 if you want to be even more specific with the double pivot. But then, like Nick said, with the fact that we've got a lot of attackers out injured, a lot of our wide players out injured in particular, we had to then go narrow with our formation to go the back 3, or a back 5 if you like, but a back 3 with your wing backs and quite central 2 midfielders, one sort of number 10 with 2 up front. And he probably doesn't really want to do that. I say he doesn't really want to do that because with a little bit of concern slightly by the fact that I think last season we actually played really well with that formation. We had Sam Baldock and Matty Taylor up front. That, of course, system completely changes with O'Donkor and Joseph, not because they're not. I'm comfortable in saying Sam Baldock and Matty Taylor are much more established strikers this division than O'Donkor and Joseph. It doesn't mean they can't score goals like those two did when they're on fire last season. I remember the Charlton result where we beat them 4-0. They were unbelievable in that game. I don't think O'Donkor and Joseph can't do that, but it's going to be really, really difficult because of the fact, again, those two, Baldock and Taylor, who are both, like we say, out injured, they're so established understanding of how they work with each other, but also they know League One and even higher, like the back of their hands when it comes to, hitting the back of the net. So like Nick said there, our formation, our system is completely down to which players are going to be available. We might have a few surprises. I think Murphy might be on his way back slowly. I think Baldock again, I think we heard on Saturday, is might be back in training this week. We don't know, of course.
Bowden will be back, won't he, from
Bowden will be back after
suspension.
suspension. Yeah. So again, these players will slowly be creeping back in. Brown was a bit of a bonus. I certainly didn't expect to see Brown for 30 minutes or so on Saturday or last Saturday. Sorry, against Burton. I didn't think he was going to be ready. Look, when he came off the pitch crying initially in tears, that did not look like a good sign, especially after he came back from an ACL. So look, as much as we are decimated by injuries, and we still are, the problem we are having is our players are slowly creeping back. And then Nick said right at the start, Matty Taylor then goes and gets an injury after scores twice, in midweek, or once, I think it was in midweek against Leyton Orient. So it feels like 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, or in Oxford's case, like 5 steps forward and then 7 steps back. So it's really difficult.
Definitely.
And hopefully we can.
Is your captain
the best
injured at the
lineup.
moment? Massinho?
Moore's injured, our captain. Massina, our club captain's fit, I believe.
Okay, fair enough.
Elliot Moore, I'm not. It was an injury in training. It's a thigh injury, I think. And of course, as Jack said, they've had to revert to a 3. They've had played Sam Long there. They've had to play young Golding out on the right. It's not an Oxford United side you'll get at Plymouth. You would probably expect attacking, flair football and everything else. An Oxford United side that know the situation and have to play the way they do. They haven't conceded many goals this season. That is true. They've changed the formation in the midfield a bit. McGuane, who really is the Oxford star of the season so far, playing as a defensive midfielder rather than pushing forward with Brannigan helping him. That really has stemmed the flow through the midfield, but it's probably lost, I'd say, Jack, a fair bit of productivity going forward.
Yeah, I think going forward, we're not the side we were. Or have been really under Carl Robinson since he came in. We know that the way that Robinson likes to play. Jack, you said it right at the start, speaking about how Robinson probably doesn't get the credit he deserves.
I think
and that's
he's really underrated,
Carl
Robinson.
Because he's such a good manager, I think, in those attacking areas. We've probably the downfall in recent years, ironically, which is really bizarre looking at this season, has been the fact we've conceded too many goals. We've been fine going forward, and we're so fluid. We love to play with the wide players, and the way they influence games is exceptional. And we know that Robinson and Charlton and MK Dons before he came to Oxford, they were really influential in his philosophy there. This season, though, with a lot of wide players out injured. Also, I will say as well, I don't think injuries have been a big part. But when players were fit for the Bristol Rovers game, for the Derby game, and even the Cambridge game, we didn't still look great going forward in those games. I'm going to be honest. We did look like we were missing something, lack of movement in those forward areas. I think actually the fullbacks have actually struggled a little bit with progressing up and putting balls in the penalty area. Matty Taylor hasn't been in great form. And also we lost McNally in the summer as well. I think he was really good at progressing the ball out of the back four and coming forward and providing a different type of problem. So injuries have been a big problem, but going forward, generally, we haven't been as exceptional as we have been in recent years, especially under Robinson in charge.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, no, I think those 2 games, that defeat to Bristol Rovers and that defeat to Lincoln, I think they're so far the 2 blips into Oxford's season so far. Even though, of course, it's only been 7 games, so of course it's still very early days at the moment. But I would say those 2 games are the 2 blips of Robinson's season so far.
Hopefully the entire season. Another 2 blips for the entire season, I'll take it. But like you say, it's only 7 games.
Definitely. So. And it's the same with us. We've with our 2 defeats against Fleetwood and Charlton. I mean, that Fleetwood game we shouldn't have lost anyway. We're by far the better team. We had more of the possession, but the problem is that first of all is that we weren't clinical enough in that game, and second of all, Fleetwood are our bogey ground. So that's another thing we struggled at. So that's the first thing. And the other thing, the Charlton game, I had no words to say about that. It was such an embarrassing performance. I was at the Valley as well. I was there watching it, and I couldn't believe my eyes, to be honest with you. It was such a bad
10 men.
You didn't leave before the end, did you, Jack?
No. I couldn't do that. No. That's the thing. It's all that money you spend to support and watch your team. No, I always stay to full time. Even when we were 5-1 down, I had to stay. But and then the minute the whistle blew, I was
off.
off back to Waterloo Station. I was just like, right, well, that was shambles, wasn't it? So,
Mention what you said about Carl Robinson. Yeah, all this attacking football, and we all admire for that. Another great thing about Carl Robinson, when he's in the trenches and the chips are really down, which it has been a few times last year, more with COVID than anything else, and certainly at the moment for United, he's a great manager to have because he does fire up the troops and he comes out fighting. And I think you'll see that on the Tuesday night game. Oxford will fight and fight.
Oh no, yeah, no, I can understand that for definite. But the thing that annoyed me after that Charlton performance was that there was a lot of our fans saying they wanted Schumacher gone from the club, and I was just like, he nearly got us into the playoffs for crying out loud. I'm like, how could you say that? I think he's a brilliant manager. I looked at that game when I was watching the game at the Valley itself. I was there like, we've had a pretty decent start to the season. That's just the one blip we've had, and I knew we were going to get games like that anyway. And I think that game against Charlton was a reminder of how tight and tough this League One really is at the moment, especially if we're pushing for if we're going to try and push for promotion to the Championship this season as well. The next game we had was away to Forest Green, and before that game, I said to the guys, I was like, if we don't get a result at Forest Green, then something has to change, because this is a team we should be beating no problem, which thankfully we did beat no problem. We won 3-0. But people were saying after the Derby game, do you think you should start Cosgrove for Oxford? And I said no, it's too early at the moment. As much as he was brilliant in that second half against Derby, Ryan Hardy is still our number one striker. He's irreplaceable at the moment. I wouldn't replace him for the world at the moment, personally. We
wouldn't mind having Hardy at the moment, to be fair. We could do a strike like that. I think we're
fantastic.
A few numbers up there, so
he hasn't had the start he would have liked for this season, especially when we've had two loanies come in this season, Ballymumba and Finn Azaz, and both of them have been absolutely phenomenal so far. So we're very fortunate to have them both at the moment. I mean, I watched Azaz's debut against Barnsley, very first game of the season, and I couldn't believe it. It was absolutely unbelievable. And there are two other players we just cannot replace at the moment. So but no, going into the Oxford game, I just do exactly what I did at what Schumacher did at the Derby game. I'd start Hardy for definite, and then if nothing exactly works going up front tomorrow, then yeah, maybe bring Cosgrove on for like the second half or something. But
sorry to interrupt there. Would you go with if Stephen Schumacher? Do you reckon Stephen Schumacher would start Cosgrove? I know you wouldn't. You'd go with Hardy, but do you reckon he's going to go with Cosgrove? What do you feel he's going to do?
I think he'll either just start Hardy, or I think he might try a system where he starts both of them or something up front.
Interesting, yeah.
But it's a tough one because Plymouth do have quite a lot of men up front at the moment who are performing well, because since we've got Azaz there as well, and it depends on how many he plays at the back. Personally, I think our best three at the moment at the back in front of Cooper are Gillespie, Wilson, and Randall. Personally, but I don't know. We got quite a few to choose from. And another one we got near up front is our number 10, Danny Mayer, as well, and of course our utility player Joe Edwards, number 8, because he obviously can play right back as well as in that midfield as well.
Yeah, I like Danny Mayer. I've always liked him. I think it's a good lad. In it. I mean, just the names you reel off shows that you mean serious business. And as you so rightly said, League One, there's always a surprise game in there every week, isn't there?
100%.
Always a surprise result every week. You think, well, that's a definite home win, or they're going to win, they're easy. It doesn't happen, and that's the way this league is. And you do expect the likes of Sheffield Wednesday, Ipswich, and I think yourselves to be right up there. But there's also always a surprise team, isn't there? There's always somebody that catches you by surprise.
Everyone expected us to beat well, not everyone. Most people expected us to beat Fleetwood away, but I just looked at it saying, I would expect the same thing, but I know Fleetwood. It's our bogey ground. I wouldn't rule it out.
It was our bogey ground for a while as well, to be fair.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
certainly
we
was.
didn't have a great record at Fleetwood, though.
There's 3 clubs we tend to struggle at: Fleetwood, Cambridge, and Wickham. They're the 3 we always seem to not do well at all. And I was saying to the guys the other day, I said, watch us go on an unbeaten run now until we get screwed over when we play Wickham away yet again on the 1st of October, because we can never find a way past Ainsworth's side at all. We got a tough run coming actually as well, because we got Portsmouth away at Fratton Park this weekend. Then we've got Ipswich at home, so it'll be Kamara's.
Wow, that is too.
Will be Kamara's homecoming, and then Wickham away. So I know these next 4, I think are going to be really tough for us. It would have been 5 if that game against Sheffield Wednesday went ahead, but obviously it didn't for obvious reasons at the end. But even before that Sheffield Wednesday game, I said our home form has been absolutely stunning so far this season. But again, it's Sheffield Wednesday. They are a title rival at the moment, so I wouldn't rule anything past them at the same time either. But the only thing I have with Wednesday, though, is that some of their games they've had this season, like their win against Bolton, their win against Charlton. I'm not going to lie. I actually thought in both of those games, both Bolton and Charlton played very well in both of them. I thought Charlton were really unfortunate to come away from that game at Hillsborough with a 1-0 defeat, because I really thought they gave Wednesday a really hard time. And that was the week before they ended up thrashing us 5-1 at the Valley.
There's a bit of context in that defeat as well, I think, for Plymouth with the 5-1. Obviously, you got a red card really early on in the game as well.
Yeah,
the red card led to a penalty. Obviously, then that got taken and got scored. So again, there's context in that, and 5-1. It sounds horrific, and on face value, the performance wasn't brilliant either. But generally, Charlton, looked really good in that game. I thought Charlton looked exceptional.
They were fantastic.
And again, you were down to 10 men for, let's say, the majority of the game. And even if it wasn't the majority of the game, which it pretty much was, the red card led to a penalty as well. So it's a double blow, isn't it? So look, it's difficult. And I think, that always, sort of, when you look at Plymouth's results, that one will naturally stand out this early. And it probably will, when you look 100%. At a lot of the season. But that could be, and I hope it is for your sake, that you'd have learned quite a lot from that game.
Yeah.
I think Steve Schumacher would have learned a lot from that game as well.
What about Charlton? I'm never quite sure that they can play so well, can't they? But then they can, as a fan of them, which I'm not, but I mean, they can really disappoint, can't they?
They're hitting.
They've been really inconsistent this season.
They're really good at home. They beat Derby at home as well. And then there's their away form that they really lack at the moment, because they lost to Bolton away, they lost to Sheffield Wednesday away. But to be fair, I thought they played really well at Hillsborough. But they're hit and miss, Charlton. And I mean, they finished 13th in League One last season. I think all Charlton fans want right now is to finish higher than that, because I think they would have absolutely hated last season.
I think they will.
I
think they will finish higher than 13th. And this is going to sound controversial from an Oxford perspective, but I actually really like Ben Garner. I know he spent time at Swindon, their manager. I actually really like Ben Garner. I think
of course.
Yeah, so I've got to be careful what I say, but I do like Ben Garner. I think he's got really, really good intentions for that football club. I think they've actually gone down a bit of a route that, I say risky, but they went down the less... if Ben Garner's watching, I don't know if he is, but I'd say not the glamorous of routes. And what I mean by that is I don't think he's the biggest of names when they were linked to quite a few. I think they were linked to Kieran McKenna before. No, because Ipswich got in before them. But I think it was Michael Carrick, of course, who was with Kieran McKenna at Man United. They got linked to a few names. Mark Warburton before, when he got sacked from QPR. So they were linked with all these different names. And they went with Ben Garner. And I think everyone was a little bit like, I'm not sure about that. His League One record isn't amazing at Bristol Rovers. I think he's actually the manager who got them in a position where they in the end got relegated. Did really well at Swindon. Earned in that move to Charlton. I think so far, like you say, away from home, there's been a few worries. That Bolton result was actually showing, unfortunately, a few signs of Charlton last season, which is, of course, not what you want to see. You want to see progression. But generally, look at the broader things. I think they have seen progression. They're playing much better football. The players they brought in, a lot of them being from Swindon, but I've been really impressed with them. Conor McGrandles, by the way, from Lincoln City on a free transfer, an exceptional piece of business. I think Woolacott, the goalkeeper from Swindon, is a really good ball-playing goalkeeper. I think Jack Payne, who was a real disappointment at Oxford, actually. Nick, you remember Jack Payne when we had him? Was it on loan from Blackburn we had him on loan from? He was horrific.
Yeah.
And I mean, at the start, I mean, I say he was horrific. We were horrific at the time as well. That was the Pep Catet
I
era.
think
That
he came at a pretty
yeah, it
tough
wasn't
old
easy.
time for. Yeah, it wasn't. No, but
he's done really well. Really,
he has
I
done
mean,
well since. Yeah, he's a,
yeah. So yeah, I think
he's a
China are
clever
good. I think
player.
they'll be fine.
Yeah, he is. He's a decent player. Yeah, it's a very interesting league.
Oh, it is. There's so many interesting clubs down there as well. And the other thing I was gonna to carry on with that as well is that I could say exactly the same thing about Exeter's manager, Matt Taylor, as much as they're our biggest rivals. And I will admit, I'm delighted they're back in League One with us because the derby's back. And I'm really looking forward to that. It's on Halloween as well. So it's going to be very interesting. But I've always liked Matt Taylor because everything he's done for that club has been extraordinary. And that club, Exeter, they've spent years and years trying to get back into League One. They've had so many EFL League Two playoff final heartbreaks. Now look what's happened with Exeter. They're now back in League One where they last were in 2012. And yeah, it's been a long decade for them, and they're finally back to where they feel they're where they deserve to be. But as long as we destroy them this year, that's all that matters to me. So
they've started strong. They have started strong, like you say.
They have. I'm
Yeah.
not going to lie. They've had a phenomenal start to this season. If you look at Exeter, Forest Green, Bristol Rovers, and Port Vale, the four clubs that have gone up, Exeter have by far done the best out of the four, by far. Bristol Rovers and Port Vale, I'd say, have been hit and miss so far. They've had some very good results, but they've also had some results that I think they might have expected at the same time as well. And it's interesting, I find this, because I actually had Bristol Rovers to be my surprise of the season this season with the amount of signings that Joey Barton made this summer. I had them, I'm not going to lie, in my predictions, I had Bristol Rovers to finish 10th this season. I actually thought they'd really surprise everyone this season. But
so where did you have Oxford, Jack? That's what
I'm going to be honest. I had you guys 7th.
Oh, right.
It's higher than I thought, to be fair. I think because when a lot of people were doing their predictions, because our transfer window started really slowly, to be honest, I think it should be a lot of, I think I got them, and this is going to, unfortunately, this is actually my most viewed podcast, the one at the predictions, which is quite unfortunate, really, because I got Oxford, I think, about 10th. So that was, that's not going to go down very well. But again, we still might finish 10th or 11th at the moment. So yeah, but because of our window starting really slowly, and this could be a bit of a factor as to why maybe we've started a little bit slowly. Again, the players that came in, a lot of our business actually happened. The majority of pre-season, we didn't actually have any of our new signings in. So again, that should be a factor that isn't being spoken about, because a lot of the players we did have brought in are now injured anyway. So yeah, it's a difficult start. I was going to say as well, Forest Green, who of course got promoted as well, at 21st in the league as well.
Terrible start to this season, personally, but I think it hasn't helped that they've got rid of it hasn't helped that Rob Edwards has gone to sign for Watford as well. So I think that's put a lot of their key players left damage into them as well. He's obviously the man that got them up to League One in the first place. But no, they've had a tricky start to the season, Forest Green. They got battered 5-0 by Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough.
I'm a bit of an old romantic.
Well.
Yeah, I'm a bit of an old romantic, and Forest Green being in League One, I thought was absolutely fantastic. This, you go up to the village, don't you? The fantastic story. It will be tough for them to survive, I would imagine, in League One for so many reasons. But for them to be there, I think it's what makes the game in this country so special, that you can have Sheffield Wednesday, Derby County, Ipswich playing the likes of Forest Green in the same league. I think that's just so special. It's unique, I think, to probably football anywhere else in the world.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. I think if anyone's going to be not just glad they're with them this season, but also irritated at the same time, if anything, though, is Cheltenham Town, because that's brought El Glossico back into the same league as well. I think that's what they call it in Gloucestershire.
Do they really?
I think they do. I'm not sure, but that's what I've heard from like some articles and sources or something.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting.
I don't know if we haven't got a very glamorous name for our one, Oxford Swindon. If we call the LM40, it doesn't sound as good, does it?
No,
ours is just the Devon derby, but we've also got a Devon derby with Torquay United as well. But they're still in the National League at the moment.
Yeah, I'll follow their progress with all these other clubs in the National League. Oxford found it. Exeter, it's very, very difficult to get out.
And we just stayed in League Two. We only just stayed in League Two.
You just stayed in, didn't you?
4 years that we had, so
Uh,
we went into
thank
administration
your lucky
that
stars.
year as well. It was
You,
terrible.
yeah, because throw everything at it the first year. Bristol Rovers, Shrewsbury, Carlisle, they did that and got back in straight away. If you don't, Lincoln, Wrexham, Chesterfield. Oh, there's a list as long as your arm, and now some of them are playing in National League North, aren't they? That were in the league and got relegated.
Yeah,
It's
no, definitely.
once you're out and you don't get straight back in, it's really tough. So Plymouth did so well to avoid that, because when Oxford went out of the league,
I was looking at that, thinking, how can a club size like us be in the National League?
Yeah.
I was really bricking it back then. And Southend are in it now. Like you would not expect Southend to be in the National League at all.
It's interesting because you sort of see that with League One as well. I think there were quite a few Sheffield Wednesday fans that are thinking, how are a club like Sheffield Wednesday in League One? And same with Bolton and like Pompey to an extent, Ipswich. These are massive football clubs with huge histories, huge stature, massive fan bases, and they're in the third division of English football, which is very competitive. But again, they're all in one league, and only three teams can go up. So there's going to be at least one or two teams doing it next season at least.
With most of our history being in either League One or the Championship, I to be honest, don't mind being in League One. It's only when we're in League Two I'm extremely annoyed, because I just know we should not be in there at all. But obviously, the dream is the Premier League, because that's one thing the club has never achieved in its life. And that's the one life goal I've been waiting for my whole life. Well, 2 life goals, actually. Plymouth Argyle in the Premier League, and one of my... And Cornwall's highest local club, Truro City, in League Two at least. The highest Truro have got is National League South.
Oh, golly. You'll be singing the anthems out in a minute. I'm being a bit slightly different age to you young gentlemen. I do remember Oxford in the Premier League for 3 seasons, and it was anybody was around then, may I tell you, it's an experience that you will never forget for the rest of your life, when you're entertaining these big clubs, and Oxford staying in there for a couple of years as well, and unlucky actually to go out as it stood in the end. Plymouth was a club I have enormous respect for. The ground, the support, everything about it says to me at least championship club, and at least championship club, and really one that could really push toward the Premiership. For all the reasons, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. But no, that game after tomorrow, we've got that massive clash with Portsmouth on Saturday, and I cannot wait for it. It's another game I really look forward to going into the season, is our Dockyard derby with Portsmouth. I know they don't see it as a rivalry as much, but I always find it a really good game to watch, honestly. And also the two don't like each other that much, so it's another thing I get really excited for, is whenever we have a game against Portsmouth. I went to Portsmouth last season at Home Park, and it was mind blowing, and we pretty much knocked Portsmouth out of the playoffs in that win as well. So no, it was very interesting. I was meant to go to 2 games last season, actually, while I was doing my master's degree, because I was meant to go Priestfield last season when we played Gillingham, but unfortunately that was on the day of Storm Eunice, and all the trains were completely cancelled, and obviously I can't drive at the moment, so I had nowhere to go. And the worst bit of it all was that Gillingham wouldn't even give me a refund for my ticket back. I'm like, what? I couldn't even make it.
I'm shocked at that. We've had some as supporters, as a team and everything. Gillingham's not an easy place to go to, is it, Jack?
It's not. I mean, we had some. To be fair, last season we did okay there. We beat them. That was the 4-5 penalty. Cameron Brannigan.
Oh, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
But at the time before that, the season before that, we lost 2-1. I remember that was horrific afternoon. We looked really poor against Gillingham.
Did Oxford have to change?
They didn't do very well.
Oxford had to change in the
car park almost, wasn't it?
Car park in the suite, and the team talk at half time is recorded by somebody through the window, which they then played. It was horrendous.
I'll be honest, a lot of that was probably down to their ex-manager Steve Evans, though. I'll be honest. He was a character that Carl Robinson didn't quite get along well with, if I could put it politely. They didn't quite see eye to eye.
difficult. I think the word is.
That's the word. Yeah, that's the
very
word.
difficult.
Yeah, that's the one, Nick. Yeah.
I was going to say, while you were off, Liam, I was just going to say, is there anyone in that Oxford team tomorrow that you have any fear for Argyle going into tomorrow night's game?
No, not really. No.
You're confident. Yeah, you are confident
like
that.
for tomorrow. You've been telling me all week that you're confident. All right then. What's we'll go around then. What's everyone's score prediction going to be for tomorrow night then?
I've already told you mine.
I got. What is it again, Liam?
2-0.
2-0 Plymouth.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with that. I'd be happy with that.
I bet you both would be happy with that. Look, I won all. There you go. I think Oxford would be, with all the problems they've got at the moment, that we've gone through a great deal. And the former Plymouth, I think if Oxford come away with everything, especially that I think they got 2 home league games, haven't they? Those that can continue in the same way and get some of these players fit. A draw I'm going for. It's my heart, perhaps not my head, ruling a little bit.
Yeah, fair enough. What are you going to go for, Jack?
I'm good. This is cheating, but I just did a predictions for all the games as I normally do, and I obviously
fair enough.
Oxford, whatever.
When are you bringing that out?
That's going to be tonight, mate. Thanks for the plug, by the way. I didn't need to do that. I was gonna say I sort of cheated and did two predictions. I said my heart and my head ones are similar to what Nick did. My head says we're going to lose 2-0. My head says that. Everything about this was, but my heart says 1-1, and maybe if we could nick something like we did, because there's been times like last season when we went to these really difficult grounds and we beat Sheffield Wednesday 2-1. So we could do something like that again, but again at that point in the season, at that point at the time, we actually had a lot of our players fit, and unfortunately, like you previously mentioned, part 1, we got a lot of players available.
Did we beat them last season at home park, Oxford? We did, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we beat them.
Yeah, very lucky. But whereas you were brilliant at the Kassam, probably the best away side we saw at the Kassam Stadium. Great day for you, the fans, and it was a beautiful day. You were superb, Plymouth. I thought, my God, what a good side. But Oxford actually were the better side down at home park, but blew away the chances, and you took the chance. And it was just, we were talking earlier about it. It was the start of the week that absolutely wrecked Oxford United's chances of getting in the playoffs, because they lost at Morecambe and then they lost to Sunderland as well in the week. But no, they played well at home park, Oxford, but didn't take their chances.
I think I remember an awful referee decision in that game as well.
Yeah, the worst thing is.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the worst thing is we got you tomorrow on a Tuesday night, and then we got you again in the new year. On a Tuesday night.
Do we have
yeah, we do.
in the new year?
Really?
No. I'm on about in 2023. So basically,
in 2023. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So basically, we got them on a Tuesday night tomorrow, and then when we played them away, we got them on a Tuesday night again.
Well, that's gonna be really interesting.
Right.
Which is no fun for you, for either sets of fans, is it?
No, really.
I say it's a short journey for you, isn't it? But it's a long journey for us. Yeah. And one would imagine it'll be a very different Oxford side you face in January, with hopefully. The appalling injury problems they've got, than the side you'll see tomorrow night.
Yeah,
We go for 4 points. Look, we'll have the point on Tuesday night, then the 3 in the new year.
I'm gonna say 3-1 to us. I do think Oxford will score against us tomorrow night, but I
bloody hope not.
I do think we're gonna. I do think we'll win tomorrow night. However, I wouldn't be surprised though. Also at the same time, if I know for our point of view, as we're at home as well, we have to win no matter what. I've been saying to that if we even draw against Oxford tomorrow night, will be really bad. Will be a really bad result for us. But I think personally, all eyes in that Plymouth team are on that Pompey game on Saturday, because I know that's going to be huge.
To be honest, when we play big clubs at home park, we haven't conceded a goal this season, have we, at home park? No. To be honest, I want to concede our first goal at home park to a big club, not those not saying Oxford's small club, but I want to concede to a big club like a Sheffield Wednesday, Pompey, and that, and then it's like, oh, happy days, we conceded to one of the big boys instead of conceding to, i.e., Accrington or I don't know, Lincoln or Cheltenham or something like that. Do you get what I mean?
We lost to Lincoln at home last season as well. That didn't help our form one bit for that.
No, it did. It didn't. No.
I think you've got to be careful looking at thinking, wishing these big clubs, because we were talking about League One earlier. There's surprise results all the way. There's so many clubs that can produce good results, and I think it's dangerous. You start picking who you want to concede goals to and everything else. I think you just want to take what comes on the night, because there's always, we were talking about this earlier, there's always a surprise result every week. And there's always a club that are going to cause a surprise. And I don't think you want to start wishing, oh, we only concede against the big clubs and this and that. Just grab the points when they're there.
As long as
you're
we
going to
don't
need them at the end of the year.
As long as we don't concede to Exeter first, I'm happy. That's all I can say. As long as we don't concede.
Or Torquay in the cup. How about Torquay in the cup?
Or if we ever got Torquay in the cup. Could you imagine if we got Torquay in the cup? That would be mental. I'd definitely be going to watch that.
Imagine if we got. Yeah, imagine if we got Torquay in the cup.
South Devon derby.
It'd be A, a big day out, and B, a smashing.
Well, hopefully
confidence again.
Hopefully they don't do a surprise on us. But no, yeah, I that's what I think about tomorrow night. I think we'll win, but I think a lot of minds into this week, and those Plymouth players are going to be on that Portsmouth game.
That's dangerous, though, isn't it? That is dangerous. That is a very dangerous thing to be thinking of a game ahead when you've got an important game where you can pick up 3 points. And
exactly,
I'm sure your manager I got a lot of respect for will be saying, forget Portsmouth, just concentrate on this.
I think you cannot sleep on the game in front of you. I think that's really dangerous.
Yeah,
I agree with you there. I think with Oxford are going to be a really, really difficult test, and we need to make sure that it's a difficult test. And I hope with Carl Robinson, he generally does have a good record because we are heavily the underdogs. We're the underdogs in this Zoom chat. Let's put it that way. We're also probably going to be underdogs with the bookies as well and with other people. So, well, look, we probably are going to be against it. But Carl Robinson, I think he's got a good record, I believe, and I'm happy to say he's got a good record when we are against it. Remember, we had 11 first-team players out with COVID last season against Rotherham. Everyone wrote us off. We got a point in that game. So, and that's just one example. We've had a few of those as well, where we've had a lot of players that have been injured. And really, not many people expecting us to win the last 2 games, when we had the amount of players when we've had the amount of players we've had out injured as well. So I think it's going to be one of those where hopefully make it as difficult as we can for Plymouth. And yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Early on, it's going to be early on
against Rotherham. So I guess there is that as well. But yeah, no, I at the end of the day, I'm not going to rule Oxford out either, though, because I know, especially from last season, that both of our clubs just missed out on the playoffs, and I know, like I've said already, I think Carl Robinson's a really underrated manager. I know if we don't win tomorrow, it will look really bad on us, but I do think Carl Robinson and that team are very underrated.
The thing is, though, he can't take defeat from what I've seen. Because last season he said, "Oh, this, that, and the other. Oh, we shouldn't have lost that." Oh yeah, should have.
To his defence, Oxford should have won the game at home park. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And Plymouth are absolutely brilliant at the Kassam. And I think that was but you came away with 6 points. Oxford came away with no points. But,
the home game for Oxford, you definitely no doubt deserved it. The away game there, that was the referee was it where we actually scored the goal, and then the lino actually flagged, and the goal was obviously disallowed. The away game for Oxford is one where I tell you, I stayed over a weekend. I stayed in a hotel, and that was one of the longest weekends of my life. Traveled all the way down to Plymouth, and we lost that game 1-0. We didn't even score. We didn't even see an away goal, so that made it even worse. But look, I think the home game, as Nick said there, when you beat us, it was 3-2, a brilliant game of football, and you definitely deserved it. Second game though, I think we felt really hard done by.
Are you going to the game, Jack, or not?
What, tomorrow night?
No, not you. I'm on
Oh, right.
Jack will be there now. I will be following it and punditing
yeah.
or watching it on the screen. Yeah,
I'm watching it. I'm watching it from home as well. But again, I'll be speaking about it hopefully after with a win. That'd be nice, but of course it won't be easy whatsoever.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I'm gonna go through the rest of tomorrow night's fixtures as well and see what
predictions are we doing?
And see what you all think are going to be the scores for that as well. So these are the rest of the fixtures tomorrow night in League One. I know Jack's done his predictions already for his YouTube, but we may as well go through them anyway because at the end of the day,
we can do it.
It's League One, so yeah. But no, firstly we have got Morecambe hosting Sheffield Wednesday.
Boring. 3-0 Wednesday.
Pretty certain. I think Wednesday would do it. Morecambe, yeah, but I go 2-0 Wednesday.
Yeah, no, Morecambe haven't won a game yet so far this season, but like you've said already today, Nick, they could pull off a surprise. And we were speaking to Liam and I were speaking to a Wednesday fan called Jake the other day, and we were saying that next game would be Morecambe away, and of course Wednesday lost that game as well. They literally had most of the chances, and then Morecambe ended up becoming the winners in that game. It was a really bad result for Darren Moore.
No surprises for me there. I think Sheffield Wednesday have got this one in the bag. I think I went 3-1. I don't see a way that, and this could come back to. I mean, if you believe in jinx, Sheffield Wednesday fans can only apologise, but I just do believe that the way that and also they're going to be desperate to put things right after that defeat to Barnsley as well because that was
a terrible performance that was from Wednesday, and they're going to want to put that right. They'll also feel hard done and really annoyed about that as well because Barnsley's one of their biggest rivals as well. So that's another thing. 100%. They'll be very angry about, but yeah, no, I agree with you there, Jack. I'm going to go with, I do think Morecambe will score a goal though, so I'm going to go with 3-1 to Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, when no one can see them.
Yeah, next.
Right, at Portman Road, Ipswich hosts Bristol Rovers.
Yes.
2-1
I got a
Ipswich.
feeling of a bit of a surprise. I reckon a 1-1 draw I'm going for.
You know what? I'd be so happy with that if Ipswich drop points tonight for the title race.
Yeah.
The Bristol Rovers could do me a favour tomorrow night, you know.
I bet you haven't said that very often.
No, I haven't. No. We're not huge fans of the Bristol clubs, no. So,
I think it's going to be, again, no surprise to me. I think Ipswich going to win that game.
Yeah, I think
Ipswich got that one in the bag.
I'm going to go... I don't think it's going to be as emphatic as what a lot of people will say. I'm going to go 2-1 to Ipswich.
Yeah, I said that as well.
Yeah, no, that's what I think it'll be. Shrewsbury host our local arch rivals Exeter at the Meadow.
I'd go 1-1 in that one.
Shrewsbury against who, sorry?
Exeter.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll go 1-1 personally.
I'm going 1-0 Shrewsbury.
I'll go 1-1.
Yeah,
Oxford should have been at Shrewsbury on Saturday. Yeah, last Saturday. Yeah.
Just to make this call even, I'm also going to go with a home win for Shrewsbury. Right. I'm going to say 1-0 Shrewsbury. I think it'll be like goalless for most of the game, and then one of the sides, which I'm going to go with Shrewsbury for this instance, will grab that winner.
Shrewsbury struggled to score goals as well, so that's going to be interesting. I mean, they look much better defensively, but going forward this season, they've lacked a little bit. And Exeter, of course, as we mentioned earlier, they started the season really strongly. So I've got to go 1-1.
That's good because we can do a 3-0 on them again. That'd be nice.
Yeah, no, very true. Wickham host Accrington Stanley.
I'm going 1 each. I just don't think Wickham are playing the well this season. So I'm going to go 1 each.
I'm going to go 2-0 for Wickham. I think they're going to find their way out of the few problems they've got at the moment, although Accrington are never easy. Now I got 2-0 to Wickham.
I don't expect a brilliant game of football. I'll be honest. I don't predict a brilliant game of football in that one. No. I mean, Gareth Ainsworth, you can't really, you've got to be careful when predicting Wickham, because Gareth Ainsworth is the absolute king at underdog mentality. Wickham, what they've done in recent years, I mean, they've exceeded expectations massively, and Gareth Ainsworth, of course, has been the helm of that. So yeah, I think you've got to be careful when predicting Wickham, and I always try and be as fair as I can. Of course, Oxford and Wickham don't have the best of relationships. I don't know. I probably would go with Wickham. I think the way that Wickham play as well, they're going to try and play it as direct. But then Accrington, again, they got John Coleman, who knows that football club in League One at the back of his hand. So
Yeah,
it's going to be a really interesting, tight, gritty, tactical games, I think, and it's going to be tight. I'm going to go 1-0 Wickham.
I'm gonna go with what you said, actually, Nick. I'm gonna go 2-0 Wickham. I think they'll bounce back tomorrow night. How did they do in their last game anyway? Oh, yeah, they drew 1-0 with Fleetwood. Of course they did. And you know what's interesting?
Yeah.
I had that down as a Fleetwood win as well, but I was close enough, I guess. Okie dokie. Next we have MK Dons hosting Bolton.
Massive game, that big game.
Oh, wow, that's.
I mean, they have been
I
disappointing so far this season, MK Dons, but I think they could really cause havoc to Bolton tomorrow night.
Yeah. There's no reason why they can't. That Liam Manning's a really good manager, and again, we've sort of been given a lot of managers praise for the past hour or so, but Liam Manning's another one. I think he's someone last season who did really well at MK Dons. Of course, they had those two big departures in Twine and Darling, but again, they invested quite heavily. They try and reinvested in the fees they got for both those players. Again, they haven't started the season the way they would have wanted to. Last season, they played some unbelievable football. I think injuries and out of form has cost them with the fact that some of these team selections, they did so well with that back three last season, so well with that back three. They've had to move back to that back four, now back to that back three. So I think Liam Manning deep down wanted to play with a 4-2-3-1 this season, but for one reason or another, like I say, injuries. They tried to play Dean Lewington, who's about 37. If you've played in League One for a lot, you know who he is. And plays a less solid centre back in a back three and has done for quite a few years now at MK Dons, and of course now under Liam Manning. Tried to play him as a left back, and unfortunately, no disrespect, I think he got exposed a little bit with the fact that, again, he's not the most mobile and the quickest to play. Still a very, very good experienced player, but as a left back, I think that cost them. So they sort of wanted to go back to that back three. They got a brilliant result against Morecambe, and then you felt they were really going to get a run going, and then they just lost the last game to Exeter 1-0, and that sort of really sort of stopped the rhythm they were hoping to make. So it's going to be a difficult game. And well, with Bolton, they are again, they've been a little bit on and off generally since the start of the season. There's some really good results and a few frustrating ones as well. I'd go with it. I'd go with a draw in this one, but it's going to be high scoring. I'm going to go 2-2.
I'm going to go for an MK win. I think I'll go for a 2-0 win for MK Dons. I think as you said, Jack, they got rid of those two key players. They reinvested a lot of money, and there were signs coming that they're coming strong. And I think, it was a disappointing result against Exeter, but no, I'm going to go for a 2-0 win.
I'm going to go. Oh, this is another really tough one for me because. Like we've been saying, Bolton have been on and off. But at the same time, I could see MK Dons pulling a surprise here. You know what? I'm going to go for a surprise as well. I am going to go with 1-0 MK Dons for this one. I think they might bounce back. This could be a blow for Bolton's promotion chances. I think tomorrow night maybe. So yeah, I'm going to go.
I'm going to go.
What are you going to go with?
I'm going to go 2-1 Bolton.
Yeah.
Nice.
It could go either way. It really could go either way.
Yeah, it could. Definitely. Burton,
Next.
bottom of the league, host Portsmouth, second in the league.
3-0
That manager,
Pompey.
of course, Burton.
That is true. That is very true.
3-0 Pompey, I reckon.
Yeah. You've got to think that Pompey are going to cruise it, if that's the right word, but. Yeah, these sides that are really fighting for their very lives. Okay, Hasselbank's gone. We've seen them play quite recently. I think 3-0 Portsmouth. I think that's a fair one, but I wouldn't be surprised if I was wrong.
Yeah,
You never know how football clubs are going to deal with their managers leaving it, or how the players deal with it either.
Exactly right.
Because again, if Jimmy Field Hasselbank is someone that maybe it can go one of two ways. It can collapse even further, or it can you see we talk about the new manager bounce. You'd also have a no manager bounce as well. You do actually see that quite a lot. I think we see that
you do
through at the time. So I'd probably go with I will go with Portsmouth. I think they're playing some really good stuff. The 4-4-2 is working for them brilliantly well. Cowley brought in some really good players, and the people at Portsmouth brought in some brilliant players over the summer. Dane Scarlett is the man to watch out for. If you're watching this, Burton fans or anyone that really good on loan from Tottenham this season, really impressive him. And Colby Bishop as well. They bought from Accrington. So I'm going to go with a 2-0 Portsmouth win, but I think Burton, they're going to try and make it as tight, as nitty gritty, and as difficult as they can. I think Portsmouth's quality is going to come through.
Okay, then what I'm about to say is a little bit biased, but I'm gonna go for it no matter what. So I think tomorrow night will be 4-0 Portsmouth, first of all. So obviously at first that doesn't sound biased, but I think it'll be a 4-0 win for Portsmouth tomorrow, and then Fratton Park on Saturday will be their first defeat of the season. And Plymouth have a good record against Pompey as well. So I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for it. I could be so wrong, but I'm gonna go for it. I think Pompey will demolish Burton tomorrow, and then I think on Saturday it'll be their first defeat of the season, and that'll be us.
Yeah, next.
Cheltenham host Cambridge.
It's like, oh, okay. Just keep going on.
2-0
Cambridge really good this season so far as well.
Two sides that did really well last season as well. I was really impressive, those two. They actually had quite a few similarities. Both, of course, got promoted the year before last. I think came into the league and were a bit of a banana skin for a lot of sides. I mean, we drew to them 1-1. We beat them 4-1 at home. And then for Cheltenham, that was another away day last season I went to that was not a nice one. We lost 1-0 to Cheltenham. And even at home, did we draw that game? Was it 1-1
I think we drew with them, didn't we? But at the beginning of the year.
So that was, again, we didn't have an amazing record against Cheltenham last season. And then both did really well. Unfortunately for Cheltenham, it hasn't gone. Losing their manager, Duff, to Barnsley was a bit of a blow. Also, that William Boyle, who Oxford were linked to, a really good centre-back. He's on to Huddersfield on a free transfer as well. So they sort of lost some quite big leadership members of that squad and also that football club. As for Cambridge, they've gone from strength to strength. Now, of course, 5th in the league. And I really, really like their manager. Another manager praised again in this one. Mark Bonner. Mark Bonner. I think the way that he spoke, and I remember it really well because, and Nick, you'll know about this one, of course, when we lost, sadly, Joe Beecham, that was the game against Cambridge, where, of course, it was the first home game after we sadly lost someone, of course, who's a legend at the football club. And the way that he spoke, Mark Bonner, after that game was unbelievably, I think it was amazing, the way that he was so respectful and the way that he, I think, shone a lot of respect towards Oxford as a football club, but also the way that we dealt with what was a very emotional day for everybody. So I really like Mark Bonner on a sort of a off the field and on the field base as well. So I'm going to go with a Cambridge United, and also being away, Cambridge does make it a little bit more difficult because we know Cheltenham's home record. We did okay against them this season, of course, win that game 2-1. I'd go with I think I went with a 1-1 draw, but I wouldn't be surprised if Cambridge nicked that one 2-1.
Yeah, I'm going for a 1-0 to Cambridge. Well-run club. They've done really well since they've come back from League Two. But I think it is an excellent manager there. On the budget they've got, they buy and sell well. I think they're a very, very good example of a League One club, Cambridge. And I think they win 1-0.
Bye.
I'm gonna say because Cambridge have had a fantastic start to this season, but I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw for this one. I think Cheltenham, and like you were saying, Jack, they're both very similar with the way they've both come up to League One as well, Cheltenham and Cambridge. But I think if this was at Cambridge's ground, I would have gone home win for Cambridge. But I think because this is at Wadden Road, I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw. I think Cheltenham will grind out a point tomorrow night.
Yeah, I can see that as well.
But this is something I've always wondered actually. But is there a bit of a rivalry between Cheltenham and Oxford? Because of course they're connected together by the A40, of course. So I always wonder if there was a little bit of rivalry there or something.
Never really be seen as a rivalry. Really.
Not really. No, because sadly, it's like you were saying about big clubs and everything. Oxford have always thought they're they're superior in every way to Cheltenham, which is doing Cheltenham a bit of a disservice. But Cheltenham were non-league for a long time, and Oxford were in the Championship, or even even when they're in the Premier League. So Cheltenham are never quite regarded. So there's only one really big rival to Oxford. There's only one game that really matters to Oxford fans, and that's Swindon. Wickham, we have our ups and downs with. Cheltenham, yeah, but no, you can call it the A40 derby, but
The boat race
Jack
derby as
will
well.
agree me. It's not. No, it's not really. It's the A420 derby that's the one that matters. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. The last 4 games then of tomorrow night then. So Barnsley host Port Vale at Oakwell.
Structure, but I think
Barnsley should win that.
personally,
Yeah, I'm going to go home win for Barnsley. I'm going to say 2-0 Barnsley.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, and me. I was interested to see how Port Vale have had such a horrid time in recent years and survived bankruptcy and everything else, and to see them come into League One. I've always found them a very interesting football club, but I think Barnsley. Yeah, Barnsley should win that one quite comfortably. Yeah, 2-0.
minute.
No, I'd go 2-0 as well. I like Barnsley. I like Michael Duff as well. I think he's going to slowly get Barnsley back to where they want to get to, and that's promotion. So I'm going to go 2-0.
Yeah. And you saw how much of a brilliant job Michael Duff did at Cheltenham last season as well. He's now taken that big step to move to Barnsley, and he's again not doing too bad of a job for me at all at the moment this season.
They're a yo-yo club, aren't they?
They are. They're just like Rotherham.
They never can hang in there in the Championship, but always too good for League One every time. Rotherham are the same, aren't they? And it's always interesting to see. Yeah, I'd like to. When they're in League One, they've always had a pretty decent side, a very hard side to play against.
Yeah, getting this stuff back into the blue box.
The next game, I'm going to be honest, I have gone with a complete hammering for. It's Peterborough hosting Fleetwood.
Oh, 3-0 Peterborough.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, I've gone with 5-1 Peterborough for this one.
Bloody hell. And then Fleetwood beat us as well.
Yeah, I know. It's our bogey ground, Liam. So at the end of the day, I wasn't surprised. We should have got something in that result. But yeah, no, I think Peterborough are going to destroy Fleetwood tomorrow night.
From the box that we did.
Same.
I'd probably go.
Yeah,
I like Fleetwood's manager as well, Scott Brown.
They also lost to Pompey last time out, so I think Grant McCann's going to really try and fight back immediately tomorrow night after that Pompey response.
It's not quite the next best thing. So
Yeah.
I'd go 2-0. I'd go 2-0 Peterborough.
I'd go 2-0 Peterborough. Yeah, I think Peterborough are going to be there or thereabouts at the end of the season. Peterborough. And 2-0 to Peterborough.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Charlton host Forest Green.
2-0 Charlton.
Yeah, I'm going to go 3-0 Charlton. Charlton are very good at home.
Yeah, they are.
I think 3-0 Charlton. We spoke about Charlton, didn't we, in the first part of the podcast there. They're a bit hit and miss, but at home they're very, very good.
Yeah, no, definitely. Lincoln host Derby.
Wherever Derby are concerned,
I'm going to be honest. This
spark
is
something interesting. Yeah. It's
this is my surprise game for tomorrow night. I've gone with 2-1 Lincoln. I really think Lincoln are going to get their second win of the season tomorrow night, and a lot of people will disagree with me on that, and fair enough, rightly so. Everyone has their own opinions at the end and predictions at the end of the day. I don't know what it is, but I think Derby are feeling really hurt after that home defeat to us the other week, and I think Lincoln could pull a surprise on them, to be honest. And a few seasons ago, they were in that playoff final. They lost to Blackpool. I know last season they didn't have the greatest of seasons either, but no, I can see them pulling a surprise tomorrow night. So I'm going to go with 2-1 Lincoln.
Oh, I'm ready. Jack, you go first, because I'm a bit undecided about
Nick,
this one.
You throw me under the bus there, Nick. I was hoping you were going to go. I'd probably go. It's tight. It is tight, and I understand why you're sort of pondering on that one, because it is. it's going to be tough. You go with Derby, similar to what I said about Sheffield Wednesday. They're not going to want to be losing again after that disappointing defeat to yourselves last Saturday. It was Saturday before last.
Come on, come on.
They were winning that. Of course, they were 2-0 up in that game, and to lose that game 3-2 and the manner of it as well. They won't be happy about that. But but then again, at the same time, Lincoln City really, really did surprise us when they came to the Kassam earlier this season, but then got battered by Peterborough the weekend after 4-0. So I'm going to go with a Derby County win, but it's going to be close. I'm going to go 2-1.
Yeah. I'm going to go for a Derby win. You've convinced me, Jack, but 1-0 I'm going to go for. 1-0 win for Derby, because I think after being 2-0 up against you and then losing 3-2, I think they wouldn't know, but they'll know what League One's all about by now. They'll know that there's just no easy games, and they'll go pretty determined to put things right, I think.
I think that's why I've also gone with a 2-1 Lincoln win, is because it's, again, as it's League One, I think they're going to pull. I really think they're going to pull a surprise on Derby tomorrow night. I think they're the two clubs for me tomorrow night that will have a blow tomorrow night. Derby and Bolton. They're my two that I think will have the blows tomorrow night.
Right.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, be interesting. It'd be very interesting. Obviously, with no games at the weekend as well, it takes on even extra significance in many ways, doesn't it? The football's back, and it's almost like playing at the weekend, isn't it? Because it's a Tuesday night. It would be, very, very interesting indeed. But I don't think we must forget, this is still very early season. I think
it is.
As long as you can hang in there, certainly I think as far as Oxford go, it's just a question of hanging in there at the moment while they get things sorted out with the injuries and other perhaps issues that might be there. But you don't want to get way behind. But one, don't get carried away, but two, make sure you're in touch. I think that's really important.
Oh no, yeah, definitely, I agree. And that's the other thing I was going to say. And this is where I also find League One so difficult, and that's how chuffed I was with that 3-2 win over Derby at Pride Park last time out, because I never thought we would get a win at Pride Park. I had it down as a 1-1 draw before the game. I didn't think we'd win, but I didn't think we'd lose either. I thought we'd put up a good fight, but I never thought we'd come out of Pride Park with 3 points. And that's why I got really impressed with those home wins over Barnsley, Bolton and Peterborough, because I knew they were 3 big games for us at home, and we've won all 3 of them. And it shows we've been a fortress with them so far. And I just know that the away games for those 3 at Bolton's ground, Peterborough's ground and Barnsley's ground, I know that in the second half of the season, I know they're going to be so much tougher. So that's also why I'm so glad we've managed to pull off those victories. And it's the same with Ipswich in a few rounds' time. If we can pull off a win against Ipswich at home, that's going to be really good for us, because I know how terrible our record is at Portman Road.
Yeah, no,
I think
you can.
Ipswich. We're brilliant against them at home, and then away they're brilliant.
It's going to be a difficult game. It's going to be a really difficult game. But then, like you say, Portsmouth, they're going to certainly take their start to the season. They've had a really good start to the season.
They've had a fantastic start to the season. Like I said at the start of the stream, I think Pompey and Ipswich already look this season already so much better than how they did last season.
Yeah, and they're both sides that have got experience of disappointment in League One, aren't they? They know what it's all about. Sheffield Wednesday, it's their second year. Derby County, it's their first year. But Ipswich and Portsmouth know exactly how disappointing, how frustrating and how hard it is to get out of League One. They know what they've got to do it. And I think that's a part of it. Oh,
no, for definite. And there we are, guys. That, I guess, rounds up the Plymouth Oxford preview for the Argyle Way. So this should be uploaded on YouTube hopefully tonight, I can hope.
There we go.
When they pull on the green, they're all Janner